thing and started to derail with some really ridiculous comments. I'm not moving in together was actually a step in you not being together.
I want you to see that some of this is absurd. You want marriage, or did you want marriage on your terms?
I'm here for Pastor Carl telling the truth. And it's about time someone told these couples the truth, because they've been getting away with murder by behaving in such childish manner and then blaming the experts for whatever stupid mistakes that they make. Anyway, hey there. Welcome to my channel. It's Valerie. I'm sorry for the late upload. Life has been busy. In this episode, I'll be reviewing Married at First Sight, Season 16, Episode 8. If you're new to my channel, please leave a like and a comment, and don't forget to subscribe. So the episode begins with continued home visits, and we have Mac and Dom going to Dom's house. Dom is just looking for an excuse. She doesn't like Mac. I don't think she even liked him on site when she first saw him at the altar, but I think she was trying to give him a chance. And now, because she's found every negative thing she can think of about this man, she's decided that that's it. The marriage is over. So when they get to her house, she criticizes Mac that he doesn't seem excited to visit her home. I think in her mind, she thought since she lives independently, he's going to be excited that, oh my God, look at your house, look at this, I like this. But that's not who he is. And he gave his reason that, you didn't go snooping in my house, so why should I go snooping in yours? I don't feel the need to do so. And that got her upset. I think this is why, she was behaving the way she behaved, because she expected him to be more excited than he was. And that's not him. During their meeting with Pastor Carl, Dom decides, she and Matt did not get what they asked for. As soon as Pastor Carl walks in, she tells Pastor Carl, you have a lot of explaining to do, because we asked for certain qualities in a partner and you didn't give us what we asked for. And Pastor Carl had to say, excuse me, can you tell me exactly what we didn't give you? And they started to list out what they didn't get. And then Pastor Carl said, one of you must have lied, or both of you lied, because this is what you said you wanted, this is what Max said you wanted, and this is what we gave you. We gave you what you needed from your list of whatever you're looking for in a partner. And so I don't get why the two of you are saying you didn't give you the right people. And Dom is not ready for marriage. Pastor Carl asked her, she said, I'm finished. And Pastor Carl said, are you finished with the conversation, or are you finished with the marriage? I wish you'd just release that man and let him be, because you can't say I'm not attracted to someone because he doesn't have his own place, but he's got a business. He can afford to get his own place if he wanted to. I would rather have someone like that, because I know that they are sort of probably more financially stable than someone living on their own, because he might not be paying rent to his friend's parents, and that is money that the two of you could use towards your home once the 8 weeks are up. Dom, like Gina, is looking for an excuse as to how she can say no to Mac. She doesn't like Mac, and whatever happened on the honeymoon that's turned her off, this is why she's saying this. I don't think it's about him refusing to do certain activities. I think something must have happened, because they looked like they were intimate on the honeymoon. So whether things didn't work out the way she wanted them to be, or maybe he didn't perform according to her standards, this is why she doesn't want the marriage to proceed. I hope she says, yeah, let's get a divorce, but I don't think so, because on the clip for next week, I see them together. So we'll see how that plays out. Jasmine and Aries. Jasmine and Aries went to Aries' place, and I like the fact that Jasmine actually knew about, I think Aries must have confided that he had this fear of dogs because of his childhood trauma where a dog scratched him on the face and stuff. And so her dogs were actually caged when Aries walked in, and then she sort of introduced him to one of the smallest little puppies, and that made him comfortable. He got to see her trophies, he got to see, where she lives and get a better understanding of who she is. And when Pastor Carl then sat down with them, I like that he asked them, what do you like about each other? And it showed that there is more to their sort of coupling than a lot of people might see, because they were able to pick out good qualities that they like about the other very quickly, without sort of being probed or poked or encouraged to say things about the other person. Jasmine, the main things that I picked up on was she liked Eris's work ethic and the fact that he's a go-getter, the fact that, Aries also liked that Jasmine is, she works with children, she's family orientated. And he said, today, if I were to stay married to her and I had children with her, and I was told you've got a week to live, I'll die peacefully knowing that my children are well taken care of, which shows that this is a good woman. I don't know what exactly he doesn't find attractive about her, because he said he's still struggling with the attraction factor. I've always said, I think it's the fact that his cousin said this is not it for him and he needs to sort of walk away from the experience. And this is why he's being very cautious. He said normally he would have made love to her on the honeymoon and stuff, but somehow he finds he's tending to hold back. I, as Pastor Carl said, think he needs to switch off whatever his cousin said and he needs to focus on Jasmine, because he's going to lose a good woman by focusing on what other people told him. Because he even said himself that, the experts gave him what he needed, not what he wanted, but what he needed, what they felt was best for him. And Pastor Carl has a way of sort of, this is why I've always said I don't understand why they're not calling the experts. He has a way of asking those thought-provoking questions that make someone stop and think, oh, am I right in my actions, or should I maybe reconsider what I'm doing, because I might lose something that's very important. My hope is that Aries changes and becomes the new Woody, in the sense that he sees the value in Jasmine and he focuses on her, and they're actually able to make their marriage work. But I don't know. We'll see how that plays out. Clint and Gina, where do I start? So Clint goes to Gina's place. He sees her living, her flat. He likes the flat. He's actually touching stuff. I guess he would have made Dom happy, because at least he seemed very appreciative of Gina's environment. He sat in the doggy bed. Gina is still harping on about the fact that she's still very uncomfortable moving in with Clint because of the issue that, I don't get her issue, because when Pastor Carl comes to see them, she says, he made some disparaging remarks, and so I feel some type of way, and yet, he said I'm not athletic. No, he didn't. He said he likes people that are athletic, built, and people that are, and that are always going. And she says, well, I can bench you in the gym. I am athletic. I do so hit 6 days a week. And it's like, ma'am, it's not a competition. This is now Morgan 2.0. I am a nurse, whereby she used to come in her scrubs to film to make sure people actually knew that she was a nurse, to the extent that she showed her registration to prove that she was a nurse. And Gina's doing the same. The next time, I wouldn't be surprised if she takes us to the gym and we all have to sit there and watch her working out so that she can prove her point. And I'm happy that Clint, on his part, actually said, no, she called me Ginger. I didn't like that. And Pastor Carl in the end had to say to them, I hate this name calling and this nitpicking and this commenting about the other person's features and whatever. The two of you have to decide, do you want to get a divorce or do you want to stay married? And because Clint spoke first, Gina had no choice, because Clint said, I want to work on this marriage. I want to make it a success. I am one person. If I say to myself, I'm going to work hard to achieve this, I will do exactly that. And so this left Gina in a position whereby she was stuck, because she couldn't say, I want a divorce, because then she would have been the bad guy. And I don't think she wants to be the bad guy. I think she wants Clint to be the bad guy. And I think she's realized that nowadays you don't get to film once you say you want a divorce, and she needs this publicity. She needs to be out there. I think this is why she wants to continue to stay in this marriage. Pastor Carl asked her to move in. She said she doesn't want to move in because she's not at that place. She doesn't want to move in, and they sleep in separate bedrooms. And it's like, you're living in your flat. He's living in this accommodation provided by the show. You're already sleeping in 2 separate bedrooms. What's the difference? What's the difference? It's still the same thing. And when she realized that she wasn't getting away, she started with the waterworks. I wish Pastor Carl had continued to press and told him, I will not leave here without a decision. It's either you want to stay married to Clint or you don't. Because if you're not moving in, then you're not staying married. That's it. I wish that's what he had said to her. So with Kirsten and Shaq, I think she moved into her place when she found out she was getting married. You know how they contact them 2 weeks before? I think she moved into a place and then she sort of staged it out as a place for them to come and film when they came to visit her home. Because there was nothing personal. There were no pictures. There was nothing on the counters. I know some people are that clean, but it was just strange. It didn't feel like a home. It didn't feel like it was lived in, to say the least. And so I understand Shaq's concerns that, he was surprised that that's what her home looks like. There's nothing personal there to make him feel like this is where she lives. And I don't know whether she just didn't want the show to film in her own home, or maybe that's how she lives. She says she's a minimalist, but it was way too minimalistic to actually think that somebody lives there. They met up with Pastor Carl, and Kirsten is playing games. She said that there's no attraction, and Shaq was sort of taken aback because I don't know whether she's trying to play a part and be this reserved, character or whatever. He ended up saying, she sleeps on my chest. I'm always giving her kisses on her forehead and stuff. So I don't understand why she's saying there's no attraction. Pastor Carl had to call her out because she said, Shaq said, I'm an open book. I tell her everything about myself. And every time I ask her anything personal, she sort of pivots it back to me. And it's like, is it because you're not attracted to this guy and you don't want him to know you that way? When you do sort of divorce him after the show ends, he doesn't know where you are. He doesn't know anything about you and he cannot hurt you in any way. Pastor Carl encouraged her to open up to Shaq. And I like the fact that he explained to them that if the two of you focus and work on your marriage and you do succeed, this could be a power couple. But at the same time, this could actually blow up in your faces because the two of you are very strong minded and that could work against you. I think Kirsten needs to stop being superficial. I think she has a guy that a lot of ladies that have gone on Married at First Sight would want. And so I don't get why she keeps focusing on a physical attraction. A lot of people she was physically attracted to in the real world, it didn't work out. This is why she ended up on Married at First Sight. She needs to speak to couples that have been on the show, that have managed to make their marriages a success. People like Shanice and Jeffy, people like Dion and Greg, Ashley and Anthony. A lot of couples that have succeeded through this process because she's going to lose an amazing guy and realize too late that she lost him by being too stubborn. Nicole and Chris. Nicole went to visit Chris's place. His dogs were there. Oh my God, they were everywhere. On the bed, on the settee, on the. I'm not a dog person, so I can't relate. But hey, to each their own. And the dogs really seemed to like her. They seemed to be well mannered. And when the dogs met up, they took them to a park and got them to meet there, which was a sort of a neutral environment, and they were able to just gradually sort of draw to each other and sort of be at peace with one another. I don't know how that will translate when they move into a home together, but they seemed very comfortable around each other, which was good, and which sort of puts Nicole and Chris at ease because I think this is something they were worried about given what happened last season with Alexis and Justin. And I remember Nicole actually said that no one is giving away their dog. And so that's a good thing. But I still think that Chris should have left one of his dogs with someone and brought one of his dogs and then allowed Nicole to bring her dog. They did have a conversation once they moved into their place where Chris was saying, because our leases sort of end after the 8-week process, can we renew our leases for 9 months? And it's like, this did not work for Noy. This did not work for Justin. This did not work for just Mina and Michael, so I don't know how you expect this to work for the two of you. I think if nothing else, one of you should keep their lease, and then after the process, if the marriages don't work, you can look for a different place for whoever hasn't renewed their lease. But I still think them living separately after the 8-week process is not a good idea. Pastor Carl's meeting with Chris and Nicole, I like the fact that Pastor Carl brought up the question because Nicole has been on her best behavior since she met Chris. And I remember saying this a while ago that she's on her best behavior. It only takes one thing to set her off, and then Chris is going to see the other side. So when Pastor Carl asked, have you seen Nicole's bad side? He went, no. And it's like, I was looking at their marriage and thinking, who do they remind me of? Nicole comes across as very confrontational, and Chris comes across as very laid back. And I don't know how this is going to play out. Obviously, they discussed the issue of them renewing their leases. And as I said, Nicole just agreed with Chris because this is what he wanted to do. And I don't know how she thinks she can continue to do this by pleasing Chris, because she had to give up her dog so that Chris could have his dogs. Now she's having to renew a lease for 9 months just because Chris is not ready to move in with her after decision day and doesn't want that, to be in a position whereby he's likely to be homeless if they say no on decision day. So I don't know how that marriage will play out. We'll wait and see what happens, but I think it only takes one temper tantrum from Nicole, because the producers are shady. They actually showed a clip of her kicking off about her wedding picture and the fact that she didn't like it. And so I don't know how Chris is going to respond to that. We'll see. Anyway, thanks guys for watching. Please don't forget to like, share, comment, and subscribe. Bye.